Hey, everybody.
Is your hair dryer out here?
Yeah, right there on the dresser.
Excuse me.
Hello, my beautiful people. How is everybody doing today? Would you like to see my naked husband? Oh, there's the co-host back there. Co-host. Paco hurt his leg, Neil.
You did?
Yeah, when I was taking him today, he wouldn't walk up and down the stairs. I had to pick him up and everything. It's the front leg where he has that mass underneath it.
He probably jumped off the thing. He does. He's like jumps weird.
Yeah. My poor little puppy dog. Anyway, I couldn't stay away long. My mind is just going a million miles an hour, so I thought I'd come back on and chit chat with you guys for a little bit more. So my son has his best friend over. They like to scream and yell, so sorry if you guys, if it's too loud. It's just two little boys having a good time. I made a Telegram chat, you guys, for those of you guys that want to join it. If there's anybody in here that's in our chat, if you could link it so that way other people could join it, that would be cool. Okay? And I'm going to pull, oops, sorry about that. I'm going to pull some recovery stuff for us to read. So that way this will kind of help us get focused back on our sobriety. Because I am just, I'm so aggravated. That live was lit yesterday, wasn't it? Hell yeah, motherfucker. I told you guys, I'm a storytelling fool. I'm a storytelling fool. We talked about everything yesterday. I told stories. We talked about mat treatment. We talked about kratom. Can y'all hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Hey y'all. Hey Spirit. Hey Moonton. What's up? Okay, good. We talked about so much stuff last night, y'all. We were on there for 3 fucking hours, man. But it was fun. We talked about all kinds of different stuff. I did skincare with you guys. We talked about different pathways to recovery. Hey, Emmy. My friend, Terry, she's a nurse practitioner, and she works for Recovery Delivered. And I work for Recovery Delivered, too. And she was in the chat last night, kind of helping people understand Suboxone. And so we just had a good time last night, honey. I told y'all some stories about my past when I was in active addiction. Some sad stories that made me cry. Hey, Emmy. Hey, Trailer Trash Barbie. What's up, girl? Please, I'm losing it and crying. I feel like a POS loser. What's wrong? Why are you crying, babe? Why do you feel like a loser? What's going on? Process it, honey. Process it. Tell us what's going on. So I'm going to read a thought for the day to you guys real fast. In the past, we kept right on drinking and using in spite of all the trouble we got into. We were foolish enough to believe that drinking and using could still be fun in spite of everything that happened to us. When we came into recovery, we found a lot of people who, like ourselves, had fun with drinking and using, but who now admitted that liquor and drugs had become nothing but trouble for them. And when we found that this thing had happened to a lot of other people beside ourselves, we realized that perhaps we weren't such weird birds after all. Have I learned to admit that for me, drinking and using has ceased to be fun and has become nothing but trouble? So have you got to that point where you have been able to admit that drinking and using is no longer conducive to your recovery? Some people have a harder time letting go of their drug of choice. It's basically like mourning a old relationship. Hey Coco, it's like mourning a relationship, like you broke up, right? With your boyfriend or something. Your drug of choice, whether it be alcohol, crack cocaine, Xanax, whatever, is like your boyfriend, right? It was there for you whenever you needed it. It would help you feel better and do all the things that you wanted it to do until it stopped doing those things. And that's what I think happens for a lot of people is we get to a point where our drug of choice is no longer doing what it was doing before. What I mean by that is, we're having adverse reactions to it. We're getting put in jail. We're fucking fighting with our family. All kinds of dramas happening, and it's no longer a healthy option for us anymore. And so at some point, if you're going to get sober and change your life, you have to let go of that life. You have to let go of the drugs and the alcohol. You can't continue carrying that on into your recovery with you. I think you muted yourself, Mountain Pack Boys. If you try to carry that into your recovery with you guys, it's just going to cause you issues in the long run. So I'll give you some examples. When I first got sober, I was 100%. I wouldn't drink, I wouldn't smoke, I wouldn't do nothing. I took my medication that was prescribed to me, and that was it, right? Well, it was probably like, hey guys, please don't bang around. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to come up out of here swinging. Not really, but you got to threaten them sometimes. What was I saying? Shoot. Oh yeah. Take him. When I hit like 6.5 years sober, 7 years sober, I fell upon this channel on TikTok where they were talking about using in moderation. And I fell down the motherfucking rabbit hole, y'all. And I was seriously contemplating trying to use in moderation. Okay. I had my husband listening to the people. I was listening to the people, and I was bouncing back the idea, can I use methamphetamine in moderation? What would happen if I used methamphetamine in moderation? And I was just kind of like toying with the idea, right? Well, what happened was we went on vacation, and I'll never forget it. We were sitting in the Mexican restaurant, and there was somebody having a margarita, and I was like, I'm going to order one margarita. And I ordered a margarita, and I drank it, and I expected myself to feel like, oh no, I want to go smoke crack now, or I felt like it was going to be like this amazing thing, and I was going to drink alcohol, and it was going to give me so much relief, and it was none of those things. It was just like, why did I do this? This is so pointless. You know what I mean? Like, why did I do this? And so I cried. I remember I felt like, I always felt like there was something wrong with me, and that I could never do the things that normal people do, right? I mean, I could do all those things if I want to. I could go out and drink and use today, right? I could go do those things. It's not that I can't do them. It's what happens. What are the consequences of me doing those things that I have to worry about, And so that's why I make a choice every single day not to do those things, because I don't know without a shadow of a doubt that I can drink alcohol and get drunk and not get into a fight with my neighbor, or drive my car into a brick wall, or cuss out my husband, And so instead, I would rather just not do those things, so that way I'm safe. Also, I feel like, when you get sober, you guys, I feel like when you get to a certain age, Jenna, come here, baby, that you almost kind of like start to age out of addiction. It's like when you become a certain age and you have children, it's no longer cool to be, running amok, not coming home, not taking care of your responsibilities. That's not something, especially when you have kids, because no matter what, we are parents. Okay, we are parents, and our babies rely on us. They depend on us for every single thing. They can't fend for themselves, And so it's our responsibility to be, healthy, good parents to our kids. I got overconfident a few times when I was doing well. Bad times is not the issue for me. Yeah, same. Hard drugs started destroying my life. I said, peace out. 1 year on coke was enough of a lesson for me. Brad, you're lucky that that's all you had to have was 1 year, because I was like a glutton. I was a glutton for punishment, baby. I was addicted to drugs for almost 17 years. And when I tell you guys, I kept going back and kept going back and kept going back. But like I told you guys last night, the euphoria produced by methamphetamine, especially injecting it, it was so powerful that's why I continued to use, because I was chasing this euphoria, chasing this euphoria, and I wanted to constantly be checked out of life. I don't know what it is about me when I was in active addiction. I just wanted to be in another universe. I didn't want to be on this planet. And so that's what I would do. I would be off this planet, fucked up out of my mind. And that's how I lived my life for years. Now I have something to live for. I want to see my son grow up. I want to see him, achieve things. And I can't do those things high on drugs, Hey, Luna. What's up, you guys? Come on in.
You got something in your ear. Might have to put that stuff in your ear. Hold on a second.
There's some people out there, you guys, who can use drugs. Okay, they can use drugs and they can go on about their day and everything's fine. Those people do not have the disease of addiction. Okay, the disease of addiction is the obsession to use substances, right? The obsession to use, even though that substance or whatever you're doing is causing you harm and negative consequences in your life, you continue to use it despite those things. That is addiction, right? Losing the power of choice, right? Where you want to get sober, but you try to get sober, you want to get sober, but you can't. You keep doing drugs because it's like the drugs are making the decisions for you. That's the disease of addiction. There are some people out there who, they just dabbled. They said, hey, this isn't good for me. I'm going to end up getting in trouble. And they walk away. That's different than somebody who struggles with the disease of addiction. If it was that simple for people to just walk away, then we wouldn't have the disease, right? And so the way I know that I had the disease of addiction before I ever put drugs and alcohol into my body. I had the disease of addiction centered around food. I had the disease of addiction centered around exercise. I had the disease of addiction centered around my paranoia. I was so scared that we were going to get robbed and shit. Like, I was obsessive compulsive about, like, my mom and dad locking the car doors, locking our windows, locking our house up. Like, it was crazy. Is GHB a thing in the U.S.? I struggled with that. I never see anyone mention it online, so I wondered. Yeah, it's just called the date rape. It's like a date rape drug is what they call it here. Like, I don't know many people that, like, use it for recreation, you know what I'm saying? Because as far as I know, it just would knock you out, right? I've never taken it, though. My problem is, for example, when I used to drink heavily, I drank to get real drunk. So I know I have an addictive personality. Right. Honestly, like, why do people drink? Why else would you drink but to get drunk? Right? Why else would anyone drink? What's the purpose of drinking if you're not going to get drunk? It don't taste good. So I know people aren't drinking for the taste of it, Now, some people, I believe, drink for the social setting, right? They're at the bar or they're at a work convention and everybody's drinking, and so it's like a social thing. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's why some people drink. And listen, like I said, I could drink a couple of times and be fine. But what will eventually happen, okay, is I will drink, right? I'll drink, and that will lower my inhibitions, right? And then maybe a couple months will go by and I'll drink again, and then they'll go down a little bit lower. And eventually the perfect moment will happen where I will be faced with a decision to be made. Do the cocaine or not to do the cocaine? That is the question, right? And for some reason, my husband, boom, I'm hitting the pipe, right? For some reason, those perfect situations always present themselves to my husband. The first time I've ever had a perfect situation happen where drugs have been in front of me where I didn't go get them and they just appeared was that Poshmark order with that methamphetamine in it. And y'all, that scared the shit out of me because I felt like a demon, like an evil entity had been latching itself onto me and was trying to make me fail in my recovery. I felt like something was trying to push me over the edge to use. Like when I tell you guys, I cannot express it to you any more clearer than what I'm saying, is that I felt like the devil had was coming for me. I 100% believe that there was some kind of evilness that was coming for me.
Something that's important to keep.
And then guess what happened? Okay. So I felt like the evilness was coming for me. Well, then I get this lady messaging me in my inbox, right? And she's like a spiritual person or something. And she messages me and tells me that somebody has put a black magic hex on me. And I was like, oh shit, I knew it. Somebody's putting voodoo on me. I knew it, you know? And she's telling me about how this person has put voodoo on me and they're trying to like just distract my husband and pull my husband from me. And I'm like literally like believing this shit this lady says, right? And then she asked me for money. So I was like, damn, fuck, that's not true. I was all into it at first, you know? But I do believe that there was something wanted me to fail. I truly believe that. I want to show y'all the video I made about, okay.
Methamphetamine is the only drug that I still have cravings for. These are two things that I do that help me to not relapse on methamphetamine. Number one, honey, I'm talking about it. I'm snitching on my addiction. I'm screaming it from the rooftops. Anybody that will listen when I'm struggling or I feel triggered or it pops into my mind like, hey, it's a good idea. Let's go get some meth. I tell on my disease. And number two, I remember when I had to give my son to CPS. He was asleep in his car seat, and he wasn't even 1 year old yet. And I had to walk up into that office and hand my child in his car seat asleep over to a complete stranger and walk out the door. And all I could think about was him waking up and not being with me and being with a complete stranger. And that's how I stay sober from that.
I get a little emotional just watching it. So that video right there that I just showed you guys, I hadn't put my shoes on yet. Okay, so I was getting ready to go pick Nate up early from school. And I made that video and I posted it. And then I went to put my shoes on, and that's when I found the meth in my shoe. After I made that video. So that's why I was freaking out even more than you guys were freaking out. Because I was like, what the fuck just happened, dude? Like, is this real life? You know what I mean? Oh, we're going to make me a fake tooth. I got one of these thingies. Okay, so let's go make a fake tooth. I think we have to make it with like hot water or something. Anybody in here know how to make a fake tooth?
Does it not have directions?
No.
I would think it can with...
Yeah, well, you know, love and trust few. I actually thought about it. That's why I was so upset and crying when I made the video, because the thought crossed my mind. I could use this and nobody would know. And then my husband called me and he was like, hey, you're not going to use that, are you? And I was like, hell no. And he goes, because what if it has fentanyl in it and you die? And I was like, babe, I'm not going to use it. Yeah, I flushed it. I made a video and flushed it on video with my people, with my subscribers. But when I tell you guys, it was so scary to have it in my hand. Like, I was sweating. I was sweating bullets, dude. Because for those of you guys that don't know, my husband's dog is diabetic. So we have to give our dog diabetic shots. Hold on. We have to give our dog shots. So I have syringes and everything, dude. All I have to do is stick that shit in there, shake it up, and I'm off to the races, you know? And so that thought crossed my mind, like legit crossed my mind, man, for real. But the reason why I'm telling you guys all this is because if I can make the decision to not use a drug that was just showed up in my house, you know, in a package that I bought, if I can do that, then you can do anything. Any of you guys can overcome addiction and stay sober one day at a time. Every single day when I wake up in the morning, I choose recovery. Okay, this morning I woke up and I made a gratitude list. I reached out to all of my people on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, and I said, hey guys, what's up? It's me, Nicole. Let's list some things that we're grateful for today, because one thing that my mentor told me is that a grateful heart doesn't get high, right? When I'm living in gratitude and I'm helping others and I'm being of service, I'm being a functioning member of society, I'm being, you know, living in my gratitude, that I'm telling you 100% right now, I don't want to go out and use. I don't want to escape reality. Maybe something didn't want to make you fail. Maybe something wanted to show you how strong you are. That's what some people said too. See, y'all are so smart. See, I automatically thought that it was something coming for me. But then people commented and said the same thing, that they feel like it was a test to show me that I was strong. Because I doubt myself a lot. A lot. Good. Hey, Mary. How did you find out your dog is diabetic? Okay, so Jetta is like 14 or 15 years old, right? Well, we were at home and all of a sudden we noticed that she just could not hold her urine. She was peeping all over the house. And I'm talking like everywhere, like a lot. This was probably like a year or two ago when we found out. And my husband, I was like, what is going on? Like, she's never had accidents in the house. She'll go to the door and bark every time, you know? And she's just peeping everywhere. So we went and bought doggy diapers to put on her, right? But she's still like peeping everywhere. Well, then one day we noticed that she was like kind of running into the walls and stuff. And so we picked her up and I looked at her, and she was blind. She couldn't see anymore. So she lost her vision and her ability to hold her urine. And that was the hey, we got to do something. So we took her to the vet, and they, you know, tested her or whatever and told us that she was diabetic, and that now we have to give her Vensolin is what it's called. And my husband gives her a shot every morning before he goes to work. And I'll never forget it. Whenever we found out that she was diabetic, my husband might have had 6 months sober when we found out. And so I knew that we were going to have to get syringes in the house. And I was freaking the fuck out. I was so scared. I didn't want to have syringes in the house. I didn't want him to have to do that. And I was just really, really worried, you know, because what we're going to do, like, let the dog suffer? So we got the syringes, and my husband gives the dog the shots. I give them to her if I have to, if he forgets, you know. But that's one trigger that we've both been able to overcome. We have a box of 100-count syringes on our top of our refrigerator because we have to give our damn dog shots every day. And it, you know, when it's like we didn't have a choice. It's like either do this or the dog will die, you know? And that's my husband's dog. My husband's dog, since he's had her for a really long time. And my husband is like really emotionally attached to her. And he's also like a really big dog person. Like when I met him, he had like 5 dogs. He loves dogs. I think we all have tests like that. Some of us fail, some overcome. I know it's become easier for me to overcome the further I get from active addiction. A lot of it is removing yourself from those situations. Absolutely, yeah. So the further I get from the days that I used to use, the easier it gets. I agree. The strength of the love for your dog was used to show you could overcome that. Yeah. Um, it was like I said, I was freaking out because I was freaking out more so for my husband because I was afraid that having the syringes in the house was going to be like an open invitation for him to be going and getting drugs, and go relapse or something. But um it's been fine. We've been able to you know manage it and keep everything good going, and it's great. I haven't even thought about shooting up until that day, and that's what the thought that crossed my mind was, I could use this and nobody would know. And the thought crossed my mind, like, I have everything I need. I could just do this, and then I could be zooming all day long. But then the other half of my thought was, you're going to pick Nate up from school early. Like, I was going to pick him up early from school to reward him because he made 100 on his multiplication test. And I just could not see myself going to pick him up high. You know what I mean? And so I'm glad, I made the right choice, But my son he's never seen me high before. He got taken away from me when he was 1 year old, 2 days before his first birthday. And so he doesn't remember anything, and I don't want him to ever have to see me like that, because I'm out of, when I get out of my mind, I get out of my mind. And it would probably scare him really, really bad. But that's why, like, as a person who's in recovery, like, I feel like it's really important for me to share with you guys the importance of, like, disconnecting from the people, places, and things that we surrounded ourselves with and spent time with when we were in active addiction. I believe that hanging on to those people, places, and things is a reservation. Do you know what a reservation is? You know how you call a place up and you say, hey, I want to reserve a seat for 2. Okay? Just like that. It's a reservation for relapse. You're reserving a seat for you at the relapse table because you can't let go of those people. So you're putting them in your back pocket, reserved for when you want to go slide on out and get high, And I remember when I got sober and I started working, I was working the 12 steps with a sponsor, actually, and she asked me if I had any reservations, at all. And I can remember in my mind thinking, like, I can't stay sober forever. Surely I won't have to stop using drugs for the rest of my life, right? Like, I could not see my life without substances. And so of course I told her that, like, is it forever? We can't ever use again? And she was like, oh girl, yeah, you got reservations, And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? How do I get rid of them, I feel like I had to just get to a point where my son and my love for my child and having custody of my son was such a important thing to me that it was more important than getting high. See, for all these years when I was in active addiction, I had never found anything that was more important than getting high. Nothing. I couldn't find one single thing that was more important than getting high. Going to my best friend's funeral? Sorry, I'm getting high. Going to church? Sorry, I'm getting high. Oh, I just met my husband, I'm falling in love? Sorry, I'm getting high, right? There was nothing that trumped using substances until I gave birth to my son and I saw his sweet little face And that's when I realized that this that I was literally put on this earth to be my son's mom, and that was what I was created to do. I was created to be a mom and to be a helper. That's what God, my higher power, God has wanted me to do. I'm living in my purpose. Okay, I have gotten into my purpose and I'm living in it. And the reason why I know I'm living in my purpose is because all the things that I have happened to me over the last couple of years since I started my YouTube channel have literally been placed in my life. Like, I would never even know the people that I know, and I would never have the job that I have if I hadn't got on YouTube and started talking about my addiction and my recovery. I wouldn't have a connection to any of you guys. I wouldn't have got to meet Dr. B. I wouldn't have met my boss, Austin. I wouldn't be working with Recovery Delivered. Like, all the places that I work with and I am affiliated with now, it is all because of my recovery, because of me talking about my recovery. I owe it to you guys and all the people who support me because it has literally happened. But I feel like God has placed those blessings in my life, right? To give me, it's almost like, yes, each year a blessing will appear. And it's just a blessing that tells me I'm going in the right direction. I'm living in my purpose. Keep moving forward, you know? I feel like if I was not living my purpose, that he would let me know. Something would happen to derail me and help me to face another way, you know? I have a huge resentment for my ex-partners I used with. Why do you have resentments towards them? So, okay, I'm gonna pull some AA on you. So, you know, in the Alcoholics Anonymous big book, if you guys don't know what that is, I'll show y'all. But in the big book, they talk about resentments being, you know, the number one reason why a lot of addicts and alcoholics relapse, because they say that regular people who do not have the disease of addiction, they have the luxury of being angry and holding resentment and holding a grudge, right? But people that struggle with addiction and alcoholism, we don't have the luxury of having resentment and being angry and holding a grudge against people, because that resentment, that grudge, it keeps us sick and it festers within us. Okay? And so a resentment to a regular person is just them not liking somebody, right? Fuck that motherfucker. A resentment to an addict or alcoholic is deadly. And so if you're finding yourself hooked on something like that, a resentment for somebody from your past or whatever, then what you need to do, this is what you do. You're going to start tonight. Every night for the next 2 weeks, you will ask your higher power, whoever it is, you will pray to your higher power to give that person everything that you want for yourself, okay? You're going to pray that they have success, love, their family, a good job, all the things that you want for yourself, you're going to pray for them, okay? Okay. And I know, and you're like, I don't want to pray for that. Just do it. Just do it. I promise you, man. Just do it. And then 2 weeks from now, let me know how you're feeling and what's going down after that. So when we have a resentment towards somebody, what we are supposed to do is we're supposed to find where we went wrong. Where was our part in that situation, okay? So if you have a resentment against your exes who you used with, okay? Maybe it's because your ex is the first person who introduced you to cocaine, right? Yeah. What you need to do is you need to find where you're responsible in that equation, okay? So where you would be responsible in that equation was, you know, what were you doing hanging out with people who, you know, who were okay with using cocaine in front of you? What were you doing putting yourself in that position, right? And so your part in the whole matter would be, you know, that they were comfortable enough to be with you and use around you because, you know, you had befriended them, right? So you had made a bad decision, a bad choice in befriending them, right? And so that would be your part. And then, of course, their part would be introducing you to the cocaine and all that kind of stuff, right? And so after you see and you find your part in it, um, you know, then you can try to start forgiving them, you know, for their part in it. But we're always supposed to like take care of our side of the street, you know, keep our side of the street clean first. That I learned. That's what I've learned in 12 steps, and I live that in my life every day now. Hey, Mad Feathers, what's up? I saw that shoe video, and I'm so proud of you. Oh my God! Right? Thank you, Mad Feathers. Love you. Love you. Accountability sets you free. Absolutely. And that, listen to me, the number one thing that I come back to when I'm struggling, when I had the meth shoe, is I'm going to hold myself accountable. I am going to go to my community and let my community know I'm struggling. I need help. This is what's going on. I've never had, you know, I've never had a time where I've came to the community with something that I'm struggling with and they didn't help me with it. You know, the recovery community is so understanding and just so amazing and so helpful. Nobody's ever judged me, ever, you know? And so that's why I get kind of frustrated with some people because they're saying things like the recovery community doesn't accept them, saying things like, that's not true, you know? That's not true. Now, if you're somebody who is in recovery and you are feeling guilt and shame because you've relapsed and you've been lying about it, you've been keeping it a secret, right? You're keeping that secret, and that secret is making you sick, right? That's the secrets keep you sick thing. The longer you keep that secret, the longer you keep up that lie, the more you're stacking on top of it, the more you have to cover for each day and lie about this and lie about that and lie about this. Like, the easiest thing to do is just to come clean and say, I fucked up. And I want to get back on track, and I need help staying accountable. You know, I need help staying accountable. There's no shame in having a struggle. There's no shame in relapsing at all. Okay? Do I want you to relapse? Hey, Jennifer. Hey, honey. Hey, Elizabeth. Do I want you to relapse? No, I don't want any of you guys to relapse because I feel like it's super duper fucking dangerous nowadays. It's not like when I was getting high, okay? When I was getting high, there was not fentanyl, right? And so I could go out and get high and not die on the first fucking pill. But you guys don't have that fucking luxury, dude. You could relapse and die, okay? Right away. That's another reason why it's so freaking important, man. Like, to not be fucking up, especially if you have children, because all it takes is one mistake, and one of your kids touch something and put it in their mouth, or one of their friends get a hold of something, and the next thing you know, you're calling 911 because you got a baby at your house overdosing, you know? Like, it's when you're having people in and out of your house who are using drugs, it gets chaotic, right? It gets chaotic. It's hard to keep a control on it whenever there's a bunch of people doing different things all around your place. And so it's better to just not entertain that shit anymore. And that's why when you get sober, that's what we do. We disconnect ourselves from that lifestyle. We disconnect ourselves from the people, places, and things. We surround ourselves with positive influences, men and women who are in recovery, who have been sober longer than us. Okay, it's really important to be around people who have more sobriety time than you. Okay, why do I say that? Because it's really easy to be in a group of people who have all the same amount of sobriety. How do I know this? Because I've fucked up many a times. I cannot tell you guys how many times I have been in sober living, hanging out with people who had about the same amount sober as me. You get 3 people with 6 months sober in a car together, and that don't equal a healthy person, okay? And it comes down to whether or not we should get a hotel room for the weekend. We all know that we shouldn't get a hotel room for the weekend because we don't have weekend passes, but we all look at each other, we're like, fuck it, and we get a hotel room for the weekend. Let me tell you this story. Let me tell y'all this story. This is a good story and a good example of why you hang out with the winners and the people who are staying sober, and you separate yourself from people that are using. Okay? I was in sober living. Okay? I was kind of seeing this guy named Trevor, and my friend Ashley was seeing his friend. Okay? Like, hey, we're going to get a hotel room this weekend. We really want you guys to come stay with us. And so I was like, okay, I'll come stay, but I can't stay the night because I don't have a weekend pass. So I'll just come hang out with y'all and then come back to the sober living house, that night. And that's exactly what I did. So I got over there. It was Saturday night, and I'll never forget it. I opened the hotel room door, and Trevor greeted me by grabbing me and kissing me. Kissing, all that. And he was kissing me, and the next thing I know, I looked at him, and I tasted this really bitter taste, and then my tongue went numb, and then my gums, and then I was like, oh my God. I was like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? You're doing cocaine? I knew right away. You're doing cocaine. He was like, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I just snorted a little bit. We're just having a good time. We got you some too, right? I had just gotten out of prison, and I was on parole still. And I was like, no, man, I cannot use. I was crying, you guys. I was like, sorry, I can't use, blah, 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 blah. But this dude, I liked him, and he was so fine that I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay there and get my groove on, baby. You know what I'm saying? And so against my better judgment, I stayed to get fucked, okay? And so homeboy was eating me out, fucking me, sucking me, all that, right? And it was good, honey. It was good. He was young too. I was like 30 and he was like 22 or 21. All right. And so I was robbing the cradle, baby. And so it was good. Well, I had curfew, so I went back to the sober living house, and it was Sunday the next day, and everything was kosher on Sunday. And then on Monday, it was time to go to group, right? Well, Monday morning, I hear Miss Kim calling Trevor, Nicole, Ashley, and I think the other guy's name was like Michael, right? And we are all like looking at each other, and she calls us down there, and we are all drug tested. Drug test, right? We're all drug tested, and we all pop positive for cocaine. Cocaine. And I was like, I didn't use no cocaine. I swear to God, Miss Kim, I swear to God, I did not use any cocaine. I promise. I'm crying. Tears are going down my eyes. I'm telling her, all I did was go and get my pussy ate and get fucked. I'm like straight up telling her, like, this is exactly what happened. And I'm telling her exactly what happened, all the details, right? And she was like, oh, no, Nicole, you're through. This is it. I'm going to let your probation officer know. I was going to get in trouble. I was going to go back to prison. And so I was really tripping. You're going to go back to prison. Just get out of my sight is what she said. Get out of my sight. And I had to go to group. And the other 3 were back, in her office. So I went to group, right? Well, they all went into her office, and they sat down, and they told her, Miss Kim, Nicole did not use. Like, we are telling you the truth. She did not use. In fact, she was crying. She was really upset. She was trying to get us to not use, but we had already started before she got there. You know what I mean? And by the grace of God, dude, she was feeling, hospitable, and she said, thank you for being honest with me. Thank you for letting me know. She sent them out, and then she called me back down to her office, and I went in there, and she goes, you better thank your lucky fucking stars. She was like, because getting your pussy ate almost sent you back to prison. And I was like, thank God. But I had no business being down there with all of them that night. I had no business dating people that were in early recovery with me. I had no business going to the hotel room. I knew better than that. I knew better, right? And so, long story short, I ended up getting 9 months sober. I did really well there. I stayed in the sober living for 6 months, and then I graduated to the next level, which was my own apartment, because this sober living was like a co-ed sober living, and then you could graduate to the next level, which was basically your own apartment, okay? And they could still drug test you and stuff, but you had your own apartment. And so I graduated to the next level where I had my own apartment, and I was living my best life, working really hard, going to meetings, chairing meetings. I had a sponsor. I was working the 12 steps. I was really, really, really doing the things that I had been taught that could help me stay sober. I was staying connected to sober people. And what happened was, I got promoted at my job, which happens all the time. Anytime I get a job, I always get promoted pretty quickly. And so I had got promoted at my job to upper management, and I had been chosen to go to Memphis with my boss to redo these stores, right? And so I was super excited about it, and I was going to make hella cash, a lot of money, to go and work on these stores, because we would be in the store from like 3 o'clock in the morning until like midnight, and then we would go get a couple hours sleep and do it all over the next day. So I was making a lot of money there. Well, one day, my friend Ashley, the same one I relapsed with in the beginning, or the same one I went to the hotel room with in the beginning, she had graduated to the sober living, and she was living in her own apartment. My friend Ashley called me, and she was like, hey, can you come over here? I need you to help me with something. So I went over to her apartment, and when I walked in, she was shooting Roxy's. I had never injected oxycodone, okay? I had only shot up methamphetamine and cocaine. I had never done opioids at this point. And she said, can you hit me? I should have ran. I should have went, skirt, skirt. Nope. What did I do? Sure. I'll fix you up. Next thing I know, I'm asking her if she's got one for me. And she's like, yeah, sure. And I'm doing myself up, right? And that's all it took. I literally that's all it took. Okay. It was like a second thought didn't even happen in my mind. And I threw away my 9 months of sobriety, It took a while for them to figure out that I had relapsed, because they trusted me, My counselor trusted me. I had a good job. I paid my rent on time. It took a while for them to realize that I had relapsed, but when they finally did, I remember my counselor's daughter, I had actually hired her daughter at Kroger to work with me, and I was at work, and her daughter said, my mom wants to talk to you. She's been looking for you. And I told her, I said, tell her I'm not coming. Tell her I know, and I'm moving the fuck out. And she goes, you're moving out? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, you can move in with me. So I moved in with my counselor's daughter after my relapse. And I was so fucking crazy. And then it just got worse. It snowballed out of control. And that's when I had started to inject opioids. But basically, I'm telling you all this to tell you this. Like, any time that I have relapsed, it has been because I have put my job before my recovery, and I stopped doing the things that I was doing to stay sober in the first place. It was also because I would allow people into my life that were still using drugs. For some reason, I could not let go of my old friends. I felt this I felt this pull to my friends. Like I could not turn my back on them. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, for 10 years, I was in and out of recovery, relapse, sober, prison, sober, relapse, sober, rehab, sober, back and forth for 10 years. Okay. And it was because of my inability to disconnect myself from those people. And I'm going to tell y'all something right now. Every single person who I used drugs with in the past, all of them, none of them talk to me now. None of them have checked on me. None of them. Okay? None of them. My spouse's best friend stayed with us over summer. He had a stroke from heroin and alcohol. He stayed and kept using, not bettering his life, so we kicked him out. I feel like I ruined their friendship. Bex, you did the right thing, honey. You did the right thing. Every time it's money and team, no sleep, just work over recovery. You're so right. Yeah, he's in rehab, not at least, but all of his stuff is stored in my garage and we can't use it. And I feel annoyed by it. Have his family get a storage unit for it. I'm here. What are we talking about? We're talking about recovery, Todd. What you doing, honey? Cut the ties if not a benefit to recovery. Yeah, exactly. And the idea that if you cut ties, like you're not a good person, or listen to me, you guys, like this, I'm going to say it, this ride or die mentality, this ride or die connection to our past drug using friends is a crock of shit. Okay. Those people, they might be good people. They might mean well. They might be just like us, right? But they have not gotten to a point in their life where they are ready to change. Okay. And if they're not trying to change their life and improve their life, then what's going to happen? Okay. What happens if, okay, let me say this. So it's summer camp. You're a Girl Scout and y'all are at the lake. You're out there swimming in the deep end, and you look over and you hear somebody screaming, help, help, I'm drowning, help, help, I'm drowning, right? And you're like, oh shit. So you go over to the dock and you pull yourself up and get up and you jump in and you go to swim over there to save them, right? When you go over there to try and save that person, they are going to push you under to lift themselves up. Not because they're meaning to, not because they're a bad person, not because they hate you, not because they want to do that. They're going to do that because they are in fear. They don't know how to hold themselves up. They don't know how to swim on their own. So if you're sober and you're going into the lion's den with all your friends that are using drugs, and you don't have a life jacket on and a life preserver for them, then you're going to go in there and they're going to pull you down and drown you. Okay, so the only reason why I feel like a person should ever go around people that are using substances is if that person has other people with them, 2 or more people with them who have been sober as long or longer than them. And if it's a 12-step call or a harm reduction, hey, we're delivering Narcan to somebody, okay? Other than that, I don't see any reason why anybody would want to put themselves in the position to be around people who are actively using drugs, right? The only time I put myself around people that are actively using drugs is when I am helping them if they are homeless, if they need resources to get into sober living, if they need money sometimes, me and my little boy will stop and give people money, but I don't hang out and say, hey, you want to come in my car? Let's go hang out at my house. Hey. And let me tell you, there was a time where I did go to somebody's house who was using drugs, and it could have been a disaster, but I'll share with you guys what happened. Okay. They drag you down with them. Yep, you can't help anyone if you're putting your own recovery at risk. Exactly. Every person in active addiction is an island on its own. We were too. Save yourself. Exactly. First, can we talk about the term gaslighting? It offends me if it's taken out of context. Yeah, sure. Hold on. I'm not doing well. I'm on doctor-prescribed tramadol for extreme back pain, fibro, and Xanax for diagnosed anxiety disorder. Today, my doctor tells me I have to choose one or the other. Yep. Patricia, I am so sorry you're going through that, baby, but I knew you were going to say that.
Cheeseburger from
yeah, can I have some onion rings?
Yeah, that's what I told you.
Oh, no, you know what? I want some onion rings and a Blizzard. That's all I want. My cheesecake Blizzard, please. Okay. Thank you, baby. I wanted to tell you guys about when I went around somebody who was using substances. So a couple of years ago, I was at work, and at this time, I hadn't started working with Dr. B yet. So I was working at Hallmark, and I was inside of a Kroger store stocking the cards. Well, I got a phone call on my phone, and it was Tara. It was the girl who called CPS on me, okay, and got my son taken away from me. I said, hello, the cheesecake one, and she was like, telling me that her daughter was having sex with some men, and her daughter was only like 11 years old, and that they were in the house and she was hallucinating, like really, really bad hallucinating. They're out of onion rings. What's your second choice? I mean, well, I had to have French fries then. But if they had fried mushrooms, I'd do fried mushrooms with ranch. So she was hallucinating really bad, and I was really, really concerned for her safety. Even though we're not friends, I was still like, damn, dude, is her daughter okay? Is she okay? Right? So against my better judgment, I clocked out of work and I went over to her house. And when I got there, let me just tell you guys something. My heart went down into my stomach because it was exactly what I expected it to be. She was in full-fledged psychosis from being up on methamphetamine for so many days. And she truly believed that her daughter was having intercourse with a man that was in the home. And I went through the whole house. I showed her underneath the couches, underneath the bed, everything. And then she shows me her phone and she says, no, see, look, I have them on camera. And she's pointing to her phone and there's nothing there. And so I told her, I said, listen, let me take your daughter. She can stay the night with me and Neil tonight. I'll bring her home tomorrow. You can get some rest and just chill out. You guys, she would not let me take her daughter with me. And I had to go because I had to go pick Nathaniel up from school. So I left. That night, she lost her shit. And she took her daughter to the emergency room to have a rape kit done. Okay? And I'm thinking, like, how is CPS not getting involved here? Because they came to my house and took my son quick, fast, and in a hurry. They literally, like, let her go after all this. Okay? Her poor little daughter has been traumatized. So about 2 or 3 months goes by and I get a phone call and it's her and she's crying and I'm like, what's going on? And she says, CPS took my daughter. And I was like, honestly, in my mind, I was thinking, well, it's about damn time. Honestly, I don't want them to take her daughter, but what the positions that her daughter was being put in were very, very, very bad. And they needed to take her and put her with family, And so I was like, I'm sorry that happened, but you using substances is what is kicking all this off. When I tell you guys, she would lie to me and say, no, I'm not using. I'm not high at all. And she, to this day, will not get honest, will not be honest with me and tell me that she's using. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, I know her, right? I no longer, when she called CPS on me, I stopped being her friend because she called them on me to harm me and my husband, not because she cared about my son or anything like that. She did it because she was angry at me and she was doing it out of spite. Okay. And I knew that she was the one that called. And for 6.5 years, she would not admit that she had called. For 6.5 years, she would bold-faced lie to my face. Well, 6.5 years, it was on my 6.5 year sober birthday. I get a phone call, and it's her. And she says, I just want to let you know, you're right, I did call. And I was like, I already know that. I already know. But I had already forgiven her. I had already done my 4th step and forgiven her and actually made amends to her. And so that was just icing on the cake for me to continue doing the right thing. You know what I mean? But let me see. How am I supposed to choose between bad pain or anxiety and panic attacks? Patricia, I'm going to tell you what I think you should do if you have to choose. I would keep your benzo because because them trying to take you off that benzo, they'll try to do it too fast and it'll make you really, really sick and it can harm you. You can die from benzo detox, right? And so if you have to choose, I would choose the benzo. But you could do something instead of being on tramadol, you could get on a buprenorphine product for pain. And that could help you. What state do you live in? Meth psychosis is the single most terrifying thing I've ever had to witness someone go through. Shit, girl. Meth psychosis is the single most terrifying thing I've ever went through. I told everybody last night, y'all, we had a 3-hour live stream, and it was so much fun. I told them a story about me in meth psychosis and going into a coma. And still to this day, like, I remember seeing the things I saw when I was in psychosis because they were so real. To me, everything that I was seeing was really there, but it wasn't. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, Michigan. My mom is on tramadol. My mom takes tramadol as well. She can't function without it. The pain impacts her mental health so much. So the reason why I was asking you what state you lived in is because I work with the telehealth place, Recovery Delivered, and they do Suboxone treatment, buprenorphine treatment. And if you're on a benzo, like, they will accept you. And so but if you don't want to go through a telehealth place to get buprenorphine, you could always talk to your doctor about it and say, hey, like, I understand that you don't want me to be on tramadol. Can I change to something that maybe you think would be more safe? And ask them about Butrans, because Butrans is the it's the pain management side of buprenorphine. It's a patch, and so maybe that would be something that they would be able to let you do. I have a whole team that works with me. I've been on Suboxone for 8 years. My PCP is linked with my MAT doctor, and they are linked with my urologist and everything else that I have to encounter. Hey, Brad, how are you doing, honey? Or Brand E. Hey, doctors claiming there's an interaction between the two, but I've been on there's no Okay. So I don't know why doctors say this. They should know this. Methadone and benzodiazepines are dangerous to take together because methadone is a full agonist, okay? Suboxone is just a partial agonist. And so it doesn't do the same thing that methadone does. So when you take it, you're not going to have the same risks as you would if you were taking methadone and Xanax, okay? So we have so many people that see Dr. B who are on medication for their anxiety and also on buprenorphine, Suboxone, or, a pain management medication. because of the way Suboxone is designed, what it does is I don't know how to explain this. So if you take methadone and you take Xanax, it can basically kill you, right? But that's because it's a full agonist. A full agonist means like, to me, it means like when I would take methadone, I would get kind of like a feeling from it. With Suboxone, it's just a half agonist, so I wouldn't get that like feeling. And the only way I can explain it to you guys is that like it's just, we have so many people who are on Suboxone and Xanax, and that they're completely safe, completely fine. Now, if you're overtaking your Xanax, like eating a whole bunch of them and then eating a whole bunch of subs, of course that would be dangerous, right? But or eating a whole bunch of tramadol and then eating a whole bunch of Xanax, of course that would be dangerous, right? But, you know, if you're just taking it responsibly and you're not like mixing it together, like you can actually, a lot of people take medication for their anxiety and they're on pain medication, you know? My husband had a seizure on tramadol, y'all. My husband had a seizure.
Tramadol says if you take too much, you can have a seizure.
It was the scariest thing in the whole wide world. Does Suboxone cause tooth decay? Yeah, Suboxone absolutely can cause tooth decay. Suboxone is acidic, okay? It has a pH of like 3.4 or something like that. And so it's an acidic medication. And because a lot of people, they take it multiple times a day and it sits underneath the tongue right there, then it can affect your teeth. That's why it's really important to like brush your teeth and floss and all that kind of stuff. But I want you guys to hear me when I say this. A lot of medications cause tooth decay. A lot of foods cause tooth decay. A lot of drinks cause tooth decay. Okay? And so if you're a person who is on Suboxone, I don't want you to be worried. Okay? You have to, if you want to contact Dr. B, you just call me. I answer his phones for him and set him up with his schedules and stuff from out-of-state patients. So all these medications can cause tooth decay, but listen, okay? Normal everyday things in your life cause tooth decay. Coffee, you know, like orange juice, sweets. There's taking preventative measures like brushing our teeth and flossing our teeth. When I take my subs, I take my sub. I let it completely dissolve. That's it. I let it completely dissolve, and then I spit out the crap that's left in my mouth after it completely dissolves. Okay? I made a video about this. It's super controversial. It's called "To Spit or Not to Spit." That is the question. And the reason why I spit that junk out after my Suboxone dissolves is because when I first got on Suboxone back in 2015, I went to my doctor after like a month and a half of being on it, and I was having debilitating headaches and a lot of constipation. Okay? I went to my doctor and I said, "Yo, doc, I can't shit and my head hurts really bad." And that's when he asked me, "Nicole, are you swallowing your saliva, right? Are you swallowing the junk that's left over after your medication completely dissolves?" And I said, "Well, hell yeah, I am. I don't want to waste it. You know, I don't want to waste my medication." And that's when he told me, he said, "You're not wasting your medication. Your medication gets into your system sublingually, right?" He said, "Try spitting out the residue," right? And he said, "I think you will be pleasantly surprised." So I started to, let it dissolve and started spitting out the residue. My headaches, gone. I don't know what was left in whatever it was, but me swallowing it was giving me the worst headaches, and I was having horrible constipation. I shit every morning when I wake up, and I've spit ever since. I don't take any laxatives. My husband does. I don't take anything. I am regular without having to take anything. Okay? I drink plenty of water, and that's it. I see my doctor next Thursday, and I'm taking my bottles in to prove I'm not overtaking them. If that's what he's thinking, I'm mad. You know, I'll tell you, Patricia, what's going on is these doctors are afraid. They're afraid to prescribe medications. That's all it comes down to. Okay. And so there's actually a lady on TikTok. She advocates for people who have chronic pain. And she could help you and advocate for you in this situation. Her name is Claudia Mirandi, and her account is called Don't Punish Pain. Don't Punish Pain. You can find it. Hey, guys. Hey. Y'all, stop it, please. Stop, y'all. Y'all are being annoying. Stop. It's called Don't Punish Pain, and she is on Facebook, and you can reach out to her through the messages. Driving me insane. I got a prescription for constipation. It's called Linzess. It really helps. I know my husband takes that, Christina, and when I tell you this, it makes him shoot shit out of his asshole like it's a motherfucking machine gun. I hate it. It's so powerful. He literally blows the whole bathroom up. That's the same, Mama, same. They wanted us to pay $297 for it. And so my husband just got like a little bit of the prescription filled so he could have the relief. Because my husband has really, really bad gastrointestinal issues. And so he needs it. But honey, I shit every day. I be pooping. So what else y'all want to talk about? Ask me any questions you got. I love talking to you guys. I love answering questions. I love getting to know y'all. Those of you guys that are new here and new on my channel, like I'm seeing so many new names and new faces, and I'm really just super grateful that you guys are here, honestly. Really grateful. I feel just so thankful that you guys are choosing to come hang out with me and subscribe to my channel, because you can subscribe to anybody's channel, but you came here to hang out with me, and I think that's really awesome, and I really appreciate it. It makes me happy because I really enjoy helping people with recovery. I really, really do. And I want you guys to know, like, I am super open-minded. I support multiple pathways to recovery. But I also think it's really important to, like, I got to be careful. I want to give people good information. When do you know if you're ready to start getting off of methadone or Suboxone? So the way that I started to realize I was ready to taper was I was forgetting to dose. I was forgetting to take my medication. And so to me, what that told me was, like, my day wasn't centered around my medication anymore, because it was just like I wasn't thinking about it. And so that's kind of when I started decided to taper. And I talked to my doctor about it. Also, I'll tell you, I have made a video about this, when to know when to taper, but there are things that you need to have a checklist. And the checklist goes like this. Let me get my pen and piece of paper because it helps me to write it down. So, have you been able to maintain sobriety while you are on your medication-assisted treatment? If you've been having relapses while on your subs or your methadone, then no, you don't need to taper, right? So have you been able to maintain your recovery? All right. Do you have gainful employment? All right. Gainful employment. All right. Do you have a sober support network? Right. All right. Let me think. Do you have stable housing? this is important because these are stressors. These are things that can add stress into your life if you don't have them. You know what I'm saying? And so, what's the real deal with, are you on a mission to bring her down? I just jumped on, but I haven't said anything. Hey, Shells, we're actually talking about recovery. That's what we're talking about now. So come on in. It can be. What is your opinion on epigenetics and the belief your genetic structure is actually less influencing on illness than your environment is? Oh, wow. So that's a great question. So, I believe that, it's a combination of things for me with my addiction, my surroundings, my environment, and my genetics. On my mom's side, my family has addiction, and on my dad's side, and mental illness. So, so I tapered from 12 milligrams, you guys, down to under about half a milligram is where I'm at now. So let me finish this checklist. Maintain your sobriety, have gainful employment, sober support, stable housing and transportation, okay? Because these things are important, right? How's your relationship? Are you and your old lady fighting all the time? Are y'all stable? Are you in a good place there? So relationship is in a good place. How's your mental health? Mental health is okay? Is it all balanced out? Now, don't get me wrong. Not everything's going to be perfect, right? But these are things that you need to have accomplished and lined out in your life as just a person in recovery. As a person in recovery, you should have a stable home. You should have yourself a job. You should be able to maintain your recovery. You should be able to have sober support, stable housing, transportation. You should be in therapy, getting your mental health taken care of. You should be communicating with your significant other in your relationship. Because if you're off drugs and you're just off drugs and everything else is a shit show, then you're only going to end up falling back, right? It's only going to lead you back to where you came from. Thanks, Carol. I appreciate that. I think Suboxone is amazing. And I think any person who is on Suboxone, who wants to get off Suboxone, and they have struggled to taper, that Suboxone is the answer. Suboxone is the answer. So that checklist, also your spiritual connection, whatever that may be, have that spiritual connection lined up, because this little checklist right here, y'all, will save your ass in the long run. That way you have your life together before you start trying to make huge life decisions. Tapering off of your life-saving medication is a life-changing decision. And so check yourself before you wreck yourself. Make sure that you got your shit in line before you do it, okay? What was the channel name again? Of what? Dr. B? Yeah, anytime. And I have a video on my channel that's how do you know when it's time to taper? What lady, honey? What's your... Oh, Don't Punish Pain. And she's on Facebook and TikTok. I don't know if she's probably here on too. Look up Don't Punish Pain here on YouTube. You'll probably be able to find her. And I know somebody came in here and said something about, you guys, somebody said something that is your goal to ruin Jessica Kent? No, that's not my goal. Not my goal at all. In fact, as you guys can see, we're all in here talking about recovery and helping each other with our recovery. And so if my goal was to ruin Jessica Kent, I promise you guys would know it. You would know. That's not my goal at all. holding someone accountable is not ruining that person. I want to ask you guys a question, okay? How come when somebody is holding somebody accountable, how come when somebody basically goes against what everyone else likes, why is that person like, why am I attacking or a hater or wrong? Right? You're welcome after the storm. Why am I'm not wrong, okay? That girl is on a road to demise. She is gonna end up back in prison, okay? If she doesn't get the help that she needs. Somebody has to be honest with her, okay? She is surrounded by pussy sucking yes men, okay? She is surrounded by subscribers who want her attention so bad that they will not be honest with her. They will not step to her because they want her attention, because they need to be needed, they need to be liked, okay? A true friend, a true supporter would step in and say, girl, I'm really concerned about what's going on. And even if all those text messages were totally lies and fabricated, right? Even if all that stuff was lies, Jessica Kent is in a bad place. And a lot of people have been seeing it happening for a really long time, okay? I do not hate her at all, okay? I don't hate her, all right? I'm sad. I'm disappointed, man. I supported her, okay? I was, you guys have to understand something. I went from like not fucking with her, not watching her at all, to totally supporting her and believing in her and basically cheering her on. And so, you know, I feel really, really duped, you know? And so I don't think people understand that. Like, I'm not here trying to hurt her. In the long run, the best thing that could happen for her is people to tell her the truth and call her out on her bullshit. Okay? She cannot lie and manipulate the internet forever before something comes down and happens. Okay? And so I'm sorry if a lot of you guys don't understand, right? You don't understand. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, all right? I just happen to be privy to it because my friend is really good friends with her ex. Okay? Just tell you what you want to hear. Do you know favors? It's so dangerous. Oh my God, I'm sorry, but what I read was just nasty. I'm sorry. I just wanted to pop in and say hi. Hey girl, I fell for it. Made me think her man was a POS. Been a sub of hers forever, and she blocked me because I simply expressed concern in a respectful way and corrected a few people who responded to my comment correcting their misinformation. Yeah. The only reason, y'all, my friend is friends with Reese, okay? And I know that Jessica went over to Reese's house several times, has broken this protection order, but she's on the internet telling you guys how she's escaped an abusive relationship and how she's a battered woman. And when I tell you guys, she is pulling on the heartstrings of people to manipulate you, okay? And I don't know how to tell you any other way than that. All I can tell you is what I know, and you can trust me and believe me, or you don't have to trust me and believe me. Okay? I have no reason to lie to y'all, okay? In fact, me talking about this, like I said, and going against her 1 million subscriber channel puts me in the hot seat, okay? It puts people mad at me. It puts people coming after me, commenting hateful shit on my channel, calling me a clout chaser, okay? What? A clout chaser? I'm a person in long-term recovery. Okay? And I take my recovery really, really seriously. I also have built a community online where we are supportive and accepting of all recovery. And I have been pouring into this community for 5 years. Blood, sweat, and tears, okay? I have built my channel, my little channel. Yes, my little channel. It's perfect, the perfect size for me. I'm happy. I'm proud of myself to be where I'm at with this channel, okay? I am proud of myself, okay? I have worked so hard, and I have worked so hard to help the people in my community, okay? I have given my phone number out since day one. I have spent hours and hours of my time on the phone with complete strangers who are struggling in active addiction, okay? I don't just put out content about stories from my past, okay? I'm actually physically working with the community, okay? I do a lot of work, you guys, and I'm not trying to brag, but I just don't think a lot of people understand. Not only am I doing that for my own community, but I'm answering the phones for Dr. B, okay? His community, people that are reaching out to him for help. I have a lot on my plate, you know? And so Jen is amazing, and I have so much respect for her and her recovery. And she is somebody that I absolutely support, you know? Donna, you know, Donna's been here since day one with me. I have been honest and transparent with my subscribers since day one, you know? And here's the thing, like, what you see is what you get with me, okay? There's no ulterior motives. I just genuinely enjoy helping people. I'm living in my purpose, like I told you guys earlier. And so I'm not going to allow this narrative to be spread about me like I am a hater or bringing Jessica down. The only person bringing Jessica down is Jessica, because she ain't getting fucking real. She's not being honest, okay? She's lying like a dog. All right, you guys? Lying like a dog. And that's all. I cannot tell y'all enough of how much she is lying, but she is lying like a dog. And many of you guys have felt this feeling about her, but you pushed it down, just like I did for many years. I pushed it down and I ignored my gut instinct, my intuition, okay? I ignored my intuition. And so this isn't just about a relapse, a slip, okay? This is about somebody who has been calculating and manipulating their audience since day fucking one, okay? This is so much more intricate and detailed than you guys could ever imagine, okay? Ever imagine. So much so that my mind is blown when I think about it, because I can't believe it. I can't believe that somebody would be capable of just lying and not caring. Okay?
That thing, and then you wanted onion rings, right?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Lying and not caring.
Hold on, Jen.
And just being okay with lying about things. I have a hey guys, can y'all be quiet, please? I have a conscience, you know? And I know how much people look up to me online, so I can just imagine. And I saw people in her comment section who are young kids saying, you know, Jessica, I'm young, and I really look up to you, and da 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 da. So, no. Whoever said that, whoever asked that, no, I'm not trying to ruin her. Okay? I'm holding her accountable. If I was trying to ruin her, I would be making videos talking shit about her all day long. But I'm not. We're over here having fun talking about recovery. So, does anybody have anything else to say about Jessica or any questions they want to ask before I move past? Because I don't want to talk about that right now. You have your opportunity to ask me whatever you want to ask me, and I'll be honest with you. Okay, good. At the end of the day, I just want what's best for her children. Okay? I want what's best for her children. And I don't want her to die. I don't want her to die. And I feel like what she's doing and the people she's fucking with, she's on a fast track to dying or going back to prison. So, there are people online who do hate her and are trying to, ruin her life. Do I think CBD is a good replacement for tramadol? Honestly, I think it depends on the individual. I've never really had that much relief from CBD. Have any of you guys had any relief with CBD? Now, I had CBD back rub, but it had like that icy hot feeling, and I really like that. But other than that, that was it. I have a question. What do you think is going to happen with all this? Honestly, Dawn, nothing. I think she will continue to ignore it and deny it, and she'll just keep making videos. Now, what do I think is going to happen outside of YouTube? I'm honestly very concerned. I think that I really don't want this to happen either, you guys. I do not want this. But if she continues doing what she's doing, I believe CPS will get involved and they will catch her slipping. And it will be so sad. It will be so sad because CPS it sucks. It's no place for children to be. And I'm praying that she and Reese have loved ones who would step up and take the children. But I don't know. I don't know, Ian. And so that's kind of like what we were talking about, you guys. We were talking about how important it is to disconnect yourself from that lifestyle when you get sober. And listen, you guys, I have a son, okay? I would never, ever want anything bad to happen to her or her babies, okay? Ever. I'm just scared because I know I just feel like Jessica's got her head has gotten way too big. You know, her head has gotten way too big. And so I believe that if you're somebody who's getting sober, you don't need to be drinking, right? I know some people do drink. I know some heroin addicts who, they were heroin addicts. They didn't have a problem with alcohol and they'll drink. But I'm telling you guys right now, for me, it comes down to what am I using the substance for? Am I drinking to cover up something or escape reality? And I believe drinking and using, right, is not healthy in recovery at all. It's so good, y'all. It's so good. Yeah, if you don't like it, Paige, you can kick rocks, girl. Somebody brought it up. We've been talking about recovery the whole time. Go get you a snack. We're eating onion rings in a blizzard. So, we know. Okay, so let me ask you guys something. Do you think that it is safe to drink alcohol in recovery? Do you think that people should drink alcohol in recovery? They're good. Okay. Okay. I agree. It's a slippery slope. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it can lead us back to other things, right? So, knowing what we know about prescription medications, gabapentin and Adderall, okay, and alcohol, that's really dangerous. Have y'all looked that up? Did you know that alcohol actually it exasperates ADHD? Like, alcohol's not good for people, period. It's not conducive for anybody to be using it. Yet alone a person who's trying to stay sober, you know? Yeah. And listen, you guys, like, we're all at different places in our recovery. And I understand how drinking alcohol could seem like a fun idea, right? If I'm sober and I'm doing the right thing and I'm working on myself and I'm healing my traumas, I am, like really doing the inner work, then I don't need alcohol to escape from myself, okay? And at the end of the day, that's what we drink for. We drink to escape, right? We drink to not feel.
Her equilibrium's messed up.
What do you mean, Lisa? Like us talking here? And yeah, I know that everybody's recovery is their own, right? I know that. But I think Neil, something's wrong with her.
Yeah, I think
it's her ear.
She's ear, because she can't. It's like she's.
So, everybody's recovery looks different. I totally support everybody having different recovery pathways, right?
Okay, hold on.
So I believe that there's the plant medicine recovery pathway, there's the abstinent recovery pathway, and there's the medication assisted treatment recovery pathway. Okay. Can y'all think of any other pathways to recovery?
Yeah, I think her
plant medicine, mat, and abstinence. What I believe is that, okay, you know how they talk in the Bible about being lukewarm or being on fire for God? I want you to think about it in recovery. Okay? Are you lukewarm and dabbling, drinking, taking pills, doing this? Or are you on fire for your recovery and doing things the correct way, right? At the end of the day, you guys, recovery is what you're doing to heal on the inside. Being sober is not drinking alcohol, right? Being clean, which I hate that word, being clean is without drugs, right? Without drugs. And so at the end of the day, like, I believe me, a person who utilizes MAT treatment, right? I believe that I am in recovery. I believe that I am sober because I'm not drinking alcohol. I believe that as long as I'm taking medication that's prescribed to me, that I am also clean. I believe that that is clean and sober because I'm not taking medication that's not prescribed to me. I'm not abusing illegal substances, and I'm not drinking alcohol. Now, some people will disagree with that because a lot of people don't support medication-assisted treatment, right? But this is the medication-assisted treatment saved my life. That's why I'm such a huge advocate for it, because I had tried for over 10 years to get sober through abstinence, and I kept failing, man. I kept failing. And I'm going to tell you guys, like, it's really sucks to feel like you can't get something, you know? It really sucks. You know, Mama, I had just talked about that earlier, and I don't drink alcohol, but when we were on vacation last year, I ordered a margarita for this very reason, because I thought I wanted to be a normal person, and I wanted to be able to have a drink when I wanted to have a drink. And so I ordered that margarita, and I drank some of it. And then I started crying because I thought, why am I going, what am I doing? Like, I don't want to get drunk. I don't want to check out of life. I don't want to be, fucked up when my husband and my son are like, here and we're on vacation. But it was like, how I had sat back and I had watched people who were talking about drinking and using in moderation. And I started thinking, maybe I can do what they do. And this is why it's a dangerous message to be putting out there online, that you're drinking and this, that, and the third, right? Because even me, somebody who had over 7 years sober, when I saw these people talking about drinking and using in moderation, I started questioning myself, and I started going, well, can I drink and can I use in moderation? Surely I'll be okay, right? If they can do it, I can do it, right? And it really planted that seed. It planted the seed in my mind that I could do it too. And I could have went out and fucking relapsed and fucking did meth or something, And so I think it's important, if we have a platform, to be careful when we're talking about recovery, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't want to influence anybody, even though we're not making them do it. But you guys, no matter what, we have influence, right? People who are watching this video right now are going to be influenced by the things that I'm saying, right? Times in my life where my drinking was moderate. Yeah, I had times where, yes, Melissa knows, she was there with me. I was talking about using in moderation, microdosing methamphetamine, you guys. And I was totally convinced, because I was watching these people who were talking about using in moderation. I was totally convinced that I could use methamphetamine in moderation and microdose it. And before I jumped off of the ledge and went and got the meth to microdose, I called my mentor, Dr. B. And I called Dr. B and I said, hey, Dr. B, what do you think about using in moderation? What do you think that I could take methamphetamine in microdoses? Hey guys, what's up?
Or up on the top?
Really? I did not know that, Ian. You're so smart. I'm serious, you guys. I was talking to my husband about it. I was telling my husband, hey, you know, this is that, and that. They say that we can do this. I'll show y'all what I was watching. Let me show y'all. Because, honey, I was convinced. I was convinced that. And everything they were saying, it made complete sense. It made complete sense. They have their own book that they wrote. They have their own program, everything. And they will tell you that they don't.
Do you know what I did the very first year I got sober? In AA, right? I did everything I was told not to do. Went back to college. I changed careers. I fell in love within the first month. I moved in with him in the first 3 months. We went to restaurants where alcohol was served. We went to bowling alleys. We did a ton of stuff. We went on vacation together. Didn't go to meetings. Because I didn't get sober to stop my life. I was done. I was ready to move on. I wanted to live.
Okay.
If I had done...
That's not that was just so they are totally against what AA teaches. Okay, totally against it. I actually interviewed 6:30. I actually interviewed the other guy, the guy that is it's a guy and a girl, and they talk about it's called the addiction it is called the freedom model, and I really wanted to show you guys where they were talking about moderation. It was so long ago. Anyway, they'll tell you that they don't tell people that they can moderate their use. But then, you know, in the same sentence, they'll say, if you want to moderate your use, anybody who wants to moderate their use can do it, is what they'll say, right? And you should see the comment section. There's hundreds of people telling them that's dangerous. They shouldn't say that, blah, 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 blah. And they will die on the hill and tell you that you can't. Only if you want to. They also believe that addiction is not a disease. They believe that addiction is a bad habit that can be changed. And they believe that we have basically been brainwashed by the treatment industry and Alcoholics Anonymous to believe that we are diseased, weak people. And that's how the treatment industry profits off of us. It's called the freedom model. That's what their channel is called. I interviewed Mark, okay, because I do believe some of the things they say. Like, they talk a lot about mind over matter, and how if you want to overcome something and you say, you know, I'm going to get sober, I'm going to overcome this. They talk a lot about positive thinking and that kind of thing, right? And I believe that. I support that. I believe that addiction is a disease, okay? I believe that some people have it and some people don't, right? I believe that when you take some substances into your body, I believe that those substances have an effect on your brain and change the way your brain operates. Especially those of us who have been using substances for extended periods of time. Will you put this in the freezer for me?
Yeah.
My pants fell down.
What's this?
That's my onion rings. It's best to come here for a true shoulder to lean on. Been such a safe space for years. Oh, that's right. And listen to me, you guys. We can always talk about stuff, right? We can always talk about stuff. I want you guys to know that this is a place where you can come and you can share your thoughts. You can have a different opinion than me, right? You can believe something different than me. That doesn't make me not like you. I'm going to tell you what I believe, though. I believe that addiction is a brain disease. I believe addiction is like a mental illness. Okay? I believe that I had the disease of addiction before I ever picked up a drink or a drug. I can remember being a young girl when I was little and having obsessive thoughts about my parents locking all of our doors, the car windows, because I was so afraid that we were going to get robbed, carjacked, all these different things, right? And it became like an obsession for me to like check and make sure that the windows were locked, the doors were locked, right? I also had a really hard time with overeating, eating too much food, sugar, right? Then my addiction crossed over to over exercising. And I would literally be exercising for hours and hours and hours, doing these like choreography dances and stuff that I was practicing for cheerleading for hours and hours and hours and hours. And so I believed before I ever put drugs in my body that I had this brain disease, right? That my brain just functions differently than other people's brains does. And so what I believe is that when I take substances into my body, my brain responds and says, ooh, I need more of that. And it starts sending signals, right? Give me more, give me more, give me more, give me more. A person who doesn't have the disease of addiction, when they take a substance into their body, their brain does the normal thing. It might say, oh, this feels good, but that's it. They move on from it. Or they might think, ooh, I don't like the way this feels. It makes me feel out of control. I don't like feeling out of control, you know? But for me, it was like more, you know? About to go to the extreme. And that, you guys, this was all an influence of me watching somebody on social media. And I like to think that I'm a pretty strong person, right? I like to think that I'm a pretty strong person. I'm strong in what I believe. I'm strong in my recovery. I have a good, strong recovery program. I have a good, strong support network of people in recovery that I can reach out to anytime, day or night. And so, all it takes is one moment of weakness, one moment of struggle for us to, fall off, pick up, and go down a pathway that we don't want to be going down. And so, I don't know. Why can't I? I'm trying to fix this thing, but it's not going to let me do it. Okay. I don't want to be the person who, influences people in a negative way to do something that could hurt them, And so that's why I believe that none of us should drink, right? If we're addicts in recovery, we don't need to be drinking alcohol. I'm trying to fix this, you guys. So, anyway, what do y'all want? What else y'all got to talk to me about today? Knowing you have a problem is the first part of the long battle. It's the hardest thing to admit. Standing in the light of truth. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh man, Patricia, I'm so sorry. Both sides of my family, my grandpas were alcoholics. And yeah, my parents, they don't drink or use at all. Positive thinking can only get you so far. Yes, I'm a mom. Why can't I get this thing to freaking... Oh, well, I'll just have to... It'll just have to be pointed down like that. Okay. I'm a little turd knocker. But, like, my mind will try to play tricks on me and tell me that I can drink like other people can. My mind will try to tell me that I can microdose methamphetamine and everything will be fine. My mind will tell me that I'm not an addict and that I have just been, tripping. And it happens to the best of us. Many, I know that a lot of people struggle with this, I feel like when my mind starts telling me that I'm not an addict, that I don't have these, issues or whatever, then that's my addiction. That's my addiction trying to talk me into stepping outside of what I know is right, Know why this is, but to me it seems like the most judgmental people are those in recovery, and I'm in recovery, but it's just something I wish I haven't experienced so much. John, I know how you feel, and I see what you mean. Like, I've been to places where they've told me I wasn't allowed to share because of me being on medication assisted treatment. People have made fun of me, told me that I wasn't in recovery, told me that I might as well be shooting heroin still. So I totally understand. I think that it's just an equal amount. I think that what happens is sometimes when people get sober from drugs and alcohol, they get so into whatever program that they're working, right? For instance, I have a lot of friends who had gotten sober in AA, and they get sober in AA, and they 100% believe that AA is the way. It is the answer. It is the only way. If you don't do AA, you'll die, okay? And let me just share something with you guys. 5 years ago, when I first started my channel, I thought that too. Even though I was on Suboxone, I believed that if people didn't work the 12 steps, that they were not going to be able to get sober, and they wouldn't be able to stay sober. And I would talk to people about that. And I was very abrasive and assertive when I would speak. And what happened was, after about a year of making videos, I started to watch my videos back, and I said, man, you know what? I think I'm pushing people away. I think I'm pushing people away from recovery by being too forceful about what I believe they should do to get sober and stay sober. And I took a step back and I really reflected on that. And that's when I decided that I was no longer going to do that. And I actually went from working an AA program to going into a different program. I started working the MARA program, the MARA 12 steps. And I started learning about harm reduction, because back then, to me, giving out syringes, helping people get clean supplies was enabling. I thought that was just getting people so they could get high. That was a negative thing. I didn't understand. I had only been taught one way, okay? All the years that I had been trying to get sober, I was in and out of rehab that were one way, abstinence-based recovery, God, okay? And so I didn't understand harm reduction. I didn't understand that there was other programs that people could utilize that could help them get and stay sober. And so I got so passionate about helping people. I felt like I needed everybody to know, and I was just, it was really bad. And so that's when I stopped. I said, you know what, I'm going to step back. I'm going to reevaluate my delivery, because I don't want to push people away from recovery. I don't want to discourage anybody from getting sober. I want people to know that I'm here for them, to support them, and I'm going to meet them where they're at, and that I love them, and I'll never judge them, ever, you know? And, when I did that, when I stepped away and I reevaluated and reflected on how I spoke to people, it changed everything, you know? It changed everything. Sometimes I think about how different the world would be if we never created alcohol. Yeah. It was a huge adjustment for me, and I still have a little bit of that in me still, and I try so hard to let people know that, like, no matter what I believe, I want you to know that I am here to support you, no matter what point you are at in your sobriety, okay? Like, I'm here to support you. I'm not going to judge you. I am going to celebrate with you. I want you to know that I'm here to encourage you. I want you to know that I'm cheering you on, you know? My best friend's father shamed him for wanting to go on Matt, and he didn't, and relapsed and passed away. He might still be here otherwise. People can't recover if they're dead. Absolutely. That happened to so many of my friends. So many of my friends have gone to meetings and been told that they can't share, or told that they're not, you know, in recovery, and basically people told them they weren't allowed to get a chip, a white chip, or, you know, sobriety chip, and they relapsed and died. I want to tell you a story about a girl. There was a girl on Facebook I was friends with, and she had gotten on Suboxone. Every day she would come on Facebook and she would make a post that would say, you know, good morning, you guys. I'm so grateful. Today I have 10 days sober. And the next day, good morning, guys. I'm so grateful. Today I have 11 days sober. Every day. She was counting those days, right? And every day she would do that, there would be comments underneath her post from her family, mom, dad, sisters, brothers, saying, now, you can't say you're sober. You're not really sober because you're on Suboxone. But she just would keep trucking along, and she kept posting her posts, letting everybody know how she was doing on her journey. And then she got to 30 days. 30 days, man. Everybody was celebrating her. And in the comment section, there was the same comments from her family telling her that she couldn't really say she was sober because she was on medication-assisted treatment. Well, I guess it really got to her, and she went out that weekend and she relapsed and she died. And I can't help but think that I bet her motherfucking mother and father and sisters and brothers are kicking themselves in the ass now, because they pushed her over the edge. Medication-assisted treatment is evidence-based treatment, okay? That means that there's data. There's evidence behind the treatment, right? That shows the success rates of people that utilize the medication-assisted treatment versus people that don't utilize medication-assisted treatment, you know? And so I have seen so many people in that position with their loved ones. Okay, I can understand, like, random haters on the internet not supporting your recovery, but when you have to deal with it from the people that you love, who are supposed to be in your corner, there's a huge difference between addiction and dependency. Okay? A huge difference. A lot of people are dependent on medications, okay? A lot of people take medications like insulin, Lexapro, Wellbutrin, pain medication, medication for, you know, their blood pressure, whatever. And they take that medication every single day because their body is dependent to it. Okay? Their body's dependent to it, but they're not addicted to it. Addiction would mean that they were taking it and having negative consequences, overtaking it, selling it, chopping it up in lines and snorting it, shooting it, running out of the medication early. All these things are like, things that go along with addiction. Just simply taking your medication as prescribed is dependency. Okay? If I was addicted to my Suboxone, I would be shooting it up, running out early, trading it for drugs, snorting it, whatever, diverting it. That is addiction. The Nicole that takes her medication as prescribed is dependent on her medication. A lot of people like to say to me, well, what would you do if you didn't have that medication? You'd go into withdrawal. Okay? I wouldn't go into withdrawal right away. I actually don't really start experiencing withdrawal until about 3 or 4 days off of Suboxone. But, go off. I've been without my medication before. And I have changed the way I think. I have new goals. I have new aspirations, and those are to stay sober and be a mom and take care of my son. So when I ran out of my medication, or I couldn't find it, or it got stolen, or whatever happened, I called my doctor. I got that shit handled and got it called in. Well, let's say I was out of town and I couldn't get to it right away. That's okay. I made it. I lived. I went without it, and I didn't go out and get high. I didn't go out and relapse. In fact, the thought didn't even cross my mind. And that's something that Dr. B pointed out to me. Last January, when I tapered off of Suboxone and jumped completely off of it, I didn't have the thought, oh, I need to take something to get rid of the withdrawals. I need to change the way I feel. I need to escape this reality. No, what I thought was, I need to double down. I need to get my support. I need to rest. I need to be held accountable, talk to my community, call my mentor, all that, right? The thought never crossed my mind about getting high on dope anymore, because that's not what my mind goes to. I have truly changed the way I think. I no longer cope with using substances. I cope with my coping skills now. My first reaction isn't, oh, I had a fight with my best friend, I want to get fucked up. My first reaction is, I had a fight with my best friend, I need to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you guys, like, I have worked so hard to practice and change my thinking, change the way I think. And that's hard work and dedication, baby. Dedication to staying sober, because I don't want to die. I don't want to die, dude, and I don't want to lose my son. I don't think you guys can understand. I can't explain it to you guys any other way than my son means everything to me. Okay? I love my son more than I love myself. All right? And I will forever stay sober and sacrifice and do what I have to do to give my son the best life. The best life. Because I love him. And he saved my life. And I'm so grateful to have him. Because I didn't think I could have children. I thought I was going to die with a needle hanging out of my arm. And God blessed me with my little boy. Gave me and my husband our beautiful son. And so I will forever, hold my little boy up, and he will help me stay sober, and he is my little rock. He's literally the thing that inspires me and keeps me going. When I start to struggle or feel some type of way, all I have to do is think about my little boy and all the things that I have, planned for us in the future, Abusing his Suboxone. Oh no, I am so sorry, Clary. I am so sorry to hear that. I didn't see your comment, baby. I wasn't trying to ignore you. I am so freaking sorry. Some people do abuse their medications. I understand. And then they, go down the bad path. some people, medication-assisted treatment doesn't work for them, right? Some people, they can try methadone, they can try Suboxone, they can try Vivitrol, they can try all the different things, but it just doesn't jive with them, you know? That's why it's so important for you to find, you know, what works for you. I tried all the different ways to get sober, and Suboxone was a last-ditch effort for me, okay? I have been in and out of treatment, like I said, for about 10 years. Failing at life, man. Failing at life. And I'll never forget it. I came in to the psychiatrist's office, and he said to me, tell me about what you've done in the past. And I said, okay. I said, well, I go to rehab, and I go to rehab. I don't get put in rehab. I choose to go. I choose to go to rehab to get help. I'll get the help I need. I'll get sober. I'll move into sober living. I'll get a sponsor. I'll go to meetings. I'll get my relationship back with God. I'll be doing the damn thing, right? And then about 6 to 9 months into it, I relapse. Every single time. Every time, without fail. Okay? That's what my past has shown me. That's my track record, all right? And so he said, okay. He explained to me that medication-assisted treatment was created for people who were just like me, right? Who have tried a million times, but have not been successful. And he looked at me and he said, why are you going to continue doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result? Why are you continuing to try and fit your round ass in a square peg, square hole, right? And I never had anybody tell me like that. I never had anybody look at me like that or tell me like that. Like, I had options. I said, well, I didn't know there was options. I didn't know I could do it a different way. I thought the only way to get into recovery and get sober was through abstinence. Because out of all those years I had been in and out of treatment, 8 different rehabs, so many sober livings, and prison, okay? All those times I had been in and out of those programs, I was never offered MAT treatment, okay? So I thought that that was the only way. The only way to get sober was through abstinence. So when he told me that I needed to try something different, it clicked. It made complete sense to me. I was like, yeah, I do need to try something different. That's exactly what I need to do. I've been doing the same thing and it's not working. Why do I keep trying to do it? Why don't I try something different? And that's when I tried something different, dude. And I'm telling you guys, it saved my life. It saved my life, man. I got sober and I've been sober ever since. And it's a miracle, honestly. Honestly, it's a miracle. I think about it all the time, and I'm just so grateful because I would have never, ever, ever tried it if my husband hadn't gotten on Suboxone. My husband got on Suboxone while I was in treatment. Our son had gotten taken away from us by CPS, and I was at my rock fucking bottom. Okay? I was at my rock bottom. I was depressed. I was in treatment. I was crying. I was having nightmares. I could not sleep. I was also coming off of benzos, cold turkey, so that's probably part of it. But I was in a real bad way, okay? Real bad way. And my husband had gotten on subs while I was in there. And I never forget it. He came and picked me up. And he was like, I got on Suboxone. And I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean you got on Suboxone? You're just trying to manipulate the system. You're trying to stay high. I know it. Right? All the stereotypical shit that people say about Suboxone users, right? And he was like, Nicole, I've been trying to get sober for 20 years, and the only time I've ever stayed sober is when I used a MAT treatment. And so I said, fine. And I tried to handle it for like 4 or 5 days on my own. And I was struggling. I was crying. I said, well, where did you go? Take me to the doctor. So he took me to the psychiatrist, the same psychiatrist I saw in the treatment center. And when I walked in, I saw that it was Dr. Mancino. I was like, God, I hate this motherfucker. Because the first time I met Mancino was when I was in rehab. And I was telling him the story about how my best friend called CPS on me. And I hated her guts because she did it out of spite. And fuck that bitch. And he looked at me and he said, oh, fuck that bitch. You mean she just saved your life, that's all. And I was so mad. I was like, you don't understand, you know? And I went in and I got on Suboxone. It saved my fucking life, man. Cold turkey too, and it was the worst. Yes, same, Allison, same. It was so scary. I was hallucinating. I wasn't sleeping, dude. I could have died. It was bad. Hey, Stacy, what's up, girl? Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us. But I was a person who had been, like I said, in abstinence-based recovery only for years. And so when I made the choice to get on Suboxone, I had immense amounts of shame, immense amounts of guilt. Okay? I felt so ashamed that I was using something to help me get sober. That almost kept me, put me out in relapses. That almost made me go out, right? Because of the shame I felt. The shame because of the stigma brought on me by my own peers, by my own recovery community, right? And so that shame kept me sick. I struggled for the first year. I struggled. And then my sponsor, I asked her if I could tell my story. And she said, yeah, reach out to the treatment center that you graduated from and see if they'll let you come tell your story. And I told my story. And for the first time, I had the most amazing feeling I have ever felt in my whole entire life. I told my story and I felt like free. I felt like everybody in the room was just like me. Everybody could relate to it. They were laughing when I was telling certain parts. They were crying when I was telling, they understood what I was going through. They understood they got it, And after I got done telling my story, I stood up and I looked out in the crowd and people were weeping, tears just flowing down their faces, men, women, all ages. And I remember I said, I want to help people. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to help people get sober. I want to help people get inspired to change their life, right? And I said, group hug, and I stepped out and we all hugged each other. And I left the treatment center that day and I went to Facebook and I made my own account and I started reaching out to people in recovery and I started watching recovery people on Facebook and I was so excited. And I remember they scheduled me to tell my story in a Facebook recovery group, and I was telling my story and I got to the part where I got on Suboxone and then it went south and people told me I wasn't sober. People told me I wasn't in recovery. People told me I had no business up there telling my story in the first place. And I was humiliated because I was honest about my recovery, I was humiliated and I left and I deleted my Facebook account and I was crying and I was like, fuck this shit, man. Maybe I'm just not maybe it's not for me. Maybe I'm not supposed to help people. Maybe I'm just supposed to, make sandwiches at Nukes for the rest of my life. And I was so disappointed. I was so upset. And I had been watching beauty gurus on YouTube. And I just loved it. I loved watching them and I would watch them get their PR and I thought how cool that was to be able to work with brands and stuff. And I was like, man, I would love to be able to do something like that one day, right? And then it clicked in my mind. I said, I'm going to fucking make a YouTube channel. And I made my YouTube channel and I called it Nicole's Recovery Journey. And I told my husband, just wait. give me a couple of years and I'm going to be working in recovery. And my husband was like, okay. I said, this channel is going to be my everything. It's going to lead me to the lifestyle of being able to help people. And my husband was like, okay, girl, go off, girl, like, sure. And I decided I got to change my name. I don't like Nicole's recovery journey, so I changed it to Real Talk Recovery. And I started going live every day, just like I am now, talking to anybody that would come in about my life and my recovery. And at that time, I was only 2 years sober, And so I was sharing about my struggles as a person in early recovery. I was sharing about my struggles as a mother who just got custody of her son back from CPS. I was sharing with my struggles about feeling uncomfortable in my body because I was gaining weight. All of that. And I was just documenting it and talking to the camera. And I would just talk. And I remember in 2018, I got a new job working for Hallmark. And I was so excited. I came to my channel. I told everybody, I made it. I got a new job. I'm not in the restaurant anymore. I got a better job. And everybody was like, hell yeah, Nicole, good job. And then in 2019, 2018, the middle of 2018, I got a phone call from Austin, this guy named Austin. And he said, hey, I work for Dr. Fareed Bonimod, and he has been watching your channel, and he would like to collaborate with you, right? And I thought, okay, who's that? And so I went and I looked up his channel, and I seen that he was a doctor and that he was a medication-assisted treatment doctor, an ER doctor, and an addiction specialist. And so I said, sure, I'll have him on my channel. And I'll never forget it. The first time I had him on my channel, I was like asking him questions. And I said, Dr. B, why are you so passionate about helping people that struggle with addiction? Why do you want to help people? And he got real quiet and he got choked up. And that's when he told me, when I was 4 years old, I found my dad overdosed. And he had been taking opium and whiskey. And ever since then, I knew I wanted to help people. And so I was like, that right there, the moment he talked to me about that, I fell in love with him as a person. I knew he was good people. And I was like, he's like, we are one and the same, right? And so I was like, man, so we started working together all the time. We started making content together. He would go on my channel, I would go on his channel, and all that kind of good stuff, right? And we were just popping off, having a good time, helping people, educating people about addiction and Suboxone, all kinds of different stuff. And the end of 2019, he called me on my phone, Dr. B did. He said, hey, Nicole, if I have a job for you, would you take it? And I started crying my eyes out. And I said, what do you mean would I fucking take it? I would love to work with you. I am so honored that you would even consider me for a position, because what you see is what you get. I am the way I am. I cuss, I'm a little crazy, and all this is me. I do not change it because my boss is on the channel with me. I don't change it because of anything. This is how I am, right? And so I said, I would love to. And he said, well, I can't promise anything, but I just wanted to see if you'd be interested. And I said, okay. And then 2020 came around and they called me and they hired me. They gave me a job. And I started out just answering the phones for American Addiction Institute of Mind and Medicine. And I was just answering the phones. People would call, they would be looking for treatment. I would help them get into treatment. I would help them get to see Dr. B, all that. And I was doing real good. I caught on real fast, so they added more responsibility to my list. I started answering the phone for the Harm Reduction Institute. I started answering the phone for the Wound Care Clinic. I started working in the front office virtually, scheduling new patients, calling in prescriptions to Walgreens, CVS, all that. Dr. B gave me his DEA number. Here I am, a junkie drug addict. And I had a physician trusting me with his life, with his information, his pharmaceutical information, right? And I was being trusted. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to disappoint him. And I went to work and I worked my ass off. And I have been doing that ever since. Then his marketing team, Austin, hired me to do account management for some of their clients. And so not only do I work for Dr. B, but I also do social media account management for a bunch of different clients, treatment centers, therapists, lawyers, other doctors. I post their content online for them. I manage their social media accounts, about 12 people. And so that's what I do for a living, for those of you guys that have been wondering that. But they hired me, they gave me my job, and then March hit. The pandemic. The pan-fucking-demic came. And all the meetings stopped. People were relapsing. People were scared. People were struggling. Kids were at home. No school. Mothers didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to be a home school mom. And so people were struggling. And so I said, man, fuck this shit. We're going live every night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're doing meetings. And so that's what we did. I started going live every single night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, having meetings, having people come up and share their stories, having guest speakers, and we just hit the ground running, knocking it out. And that just skyrocketed. People were, coming to the channel that were in need of support. And people were sharing my channel in like treatment centers and MAP programs and stuff like that. And it was amazing. It was amazing. When I tell you, it was the best feeling in the whole wide world to be able to help people and have that trust from the doctor, from my boss. It gave me so much confidence. It helped me with my self-confidence because I thought I would never be able to work and help people in recovery because I was on Suboxone. I thought that I would never be able to help anybody. I thought I would never be able to work in treatment, be a counselor, be a therapist, be taken seriously or any of that. And they gave me a chance, and they took me in, and I have been able to do that. I help people every single day who are inducting onto Suboxone, who are going through withdrawal, who need support, who are struggling, who are at their most dire times, and I stay on the phone with them until 2-3 o'clock in the morning sometimes, helping them get safely onto their medications. And that changed my life, when they gave me that chance. It changed my life. And it has helped me so much in my recovery today. It gives me a reason to continue to stay sober, right? It gives me a reason to continue to stay sober. It keeps me motivated. It helped me to meet other people in recovery other people that are like therapists and stuff like that. And I'll never forget, we were managing Dr. Hockman. He is a psychiatrist, social media. And Dr. Hockman had created this amazing program called Self Recovery. It's an online recovery treatment program. And I was helping him get influencers for the program to promote it. And he said, well, why don't you be one of the influencers? And I didn't even think about it. And I was like, me? And he said, yeah, you can do it. And that's when they gave me my opportunity to work with Self Recovery. And I've been working with them ever since. And I cried my eyes out then, like, oh my gosh, I am actually able to, help. I have this access to this amazing program. I have lifetime access to it. I can help people when they sign up to it. I can help them go through the program. I mean, it's amazing. And that was my first big opportunity to do something like that. And then a year went by, and I had been sharing about Recovery Delivered for over a year. And I had been telling everybody for 2 years, from 2020 to 2022, October 2022, I was telling everybody about Recovery Delivered because it was an online telehealth. And a lot of people were struggling to get access to MAT medications, right? So I was telling them, hey, this program is really good. Like I vouch for them. I think they're really good. 2 years went by, and I said, man, I'm going to reach out to them and ask them if they want to partner with me because I tell everybody about them. And I reached out to them in October, and you know what they said? You're hired. And I have been working for them ever since. But what I'm trying to share with you guys is this. Every opportunity that I have been able to have has been through organic relationships that I have built with these people. I don't just go out there and say, oh, you want me to sell your product or you want to sponsor me? Okay. I only work with these people that I trust and I believe in, and I know that they're good people. Dr. B, Dr. Hockman, Recovery Delivered. Like I really, really, really put myself out there, and I learned about these places, and I would never ever bring a place to my audience that would be a shitty place, that would be faulty, that could hurt somebody, because there's a lot of bad places out there, bad treatment centers and everything. And so anyway, I'm telling you guys all this to tell you that those opportunities are things that I never ever would have imagined I would have been capable of having with my little 23,000 subscriber YouTube channel. A lot of people, think that, I'm clout chaser, or I'm just, no, I have built a community and have worked really hard to do it for a long time. And I make videos about recovery because I truly care about helping people. I don't just make recovery content because it's trendy or cool. I make recovery content because it helps me stay sober. Making content about recovery saves my life. If I didn't talk about recovery, I probably wouldn't be here. It helps me stay accountable. Okay? And so I want you guys to know that if you're somebody who's in recovery, who has, a channel, or you're trying to help people, that you can do the same exact thing, right? Like all of the things that have been able to get over the last couple of years have happened for me little by little, one day at a time. I didn't blow up overnight. I don't have a huge following, but I have a loyal following, and I have built trust with my audience by being authentic and honest, right? And I think it's really important. I don't just throw around the word authenticity at all. I'm serious. I tell a lot of stuff on here, and I go into great detail about a lot of my struggles, and I'm very transparent, about my struggles with my insecurities, my weight, my teeth right now, everything. And I do that in hopes that it'll help somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Genuinely really enjoy helping people. But anyway, I don't know how I got on all that subject, but I wanted to share with you guys how I got my job and where I work and what I do for a living. You know what I'm saying? I think it's important for you guys to know. You can always find me over on Dr. B's channel. I manage his account. I answer all his emails, all his DMs. I answer the phones for him. I'm basically his assistant, his right-hand man. If you are somebody who's trying to get a hold of Dr. B, you got to go through me to get a hold of him. And I can get you an appointment with him. I can get you a consultation, all that kind of stuff. But you can find me over there, and or you can find me here on my channel doing what I do. But my time is split between, you know, running his stuff really and running my stuff, and then posting for all the clients that my boss manages their accounts. So oh, Dr. B is amazing, Stacy. And I can do that for you. All you got to do is call me. So all you have to do is text me on my cell phone. My cell phone number is 501-258-1833. That's 501-258-1833. And just text me and say, hey, Nicole, it's me. I wanted to set up a consultation with Dr. B, and then I can help you. Hey, PH. Thanks, Emery. And I also wanted to tell you guys one other thing. I created a place where we can chat, a Telegram place. So it's just like a chat room where we can all go and chat. There's, you know, always going to be somebody in there because there's a lot of us, and it's for recovery support. And everybody is welcome. So, okay, here's the things about how he sees patients, okay? If you are wanting medication prescribed to you, what you have to do is we have our patients fly in every 90 days. So he has to set eyes on you once every 3 months, because a lot of the times the medications that he's prescribing are narcotics, you know, a benzo or Suboxone or something like that. And so they come in every 90 days. Now, if you're somebody who just wants to do like coaching calls with him, then yeah, he can see you from out of state. But to see him like for medication, you have to fly back and forth. What are you talking about, Pixie? Oh, it's safe to download. I don't know why it said that. I have it. Everybody's in there. Y'all need to come and join it. I'll show y'all where the link is at. Okay. And like I was saying earlier to people that were coming in here, I'm here because I really, really believe in recovery and helping people with recovery. I'm not here to, you know, talk shit about other people. I'm not here to harm other people. Okay? I am here because I want to help people. And that's what I've been doing this whole time for a long time. It just so happens that you guys found me because I was speaking out about a situation that's going on with an influencer in the community. Okay, I normally don't speak out about anything like that because there's normally not anything to speak out about. I don't really see any other people that are in recovery having any kind of like situations like this person had. Okay, but I spoke about it because I want, you know, to help people, and I don't want people to die. I don't want people to lose their children. I don't want people. Oh, it's all over my YouTube, Pixie. Somebody already found it last night and texted me. They said, I found your number on your channel. It's on one of my videos. And so, yeah. Where's that damn link? Okay. I put the link in this on the community tab on this one. It's that blue link. So if you want to join and have some support, you know, from like-minded people in recovery, we would love to have you guys. Okay. Yeah, we would love to have you guys. Oh, thanks. I really appreciate that, Clary. I really, really do. I enjoy talking, if you haven't noticed yet. I really love helping people. I love sharing about recovery. I love sharing with people what I have figured out that has worked for me in my recovery. You know, it took me a long time to find something that works for me. Okay. I was in and out for 10 years, you know? And so I'm really, really just happy and proud of myself and grateful and thankful. And I want to share that with other people. And I want to help inspire other people, you know? And so, tomorrow I'm going to go get I'm going to the dentist. So hope and pray that we're going to get this tooth fixed, you guys. Patricia, that makes me so happy to hear that. I'm so glad. Pray for me that we're going to get this situation settled, because I'm tired of looking at it. I really am. You're not good at, well, you know, if you're not, that's okay. You just kind of be with the people who are doing it. And are you struggling or something? Do you need help? Thank you. I appreciate that, MT. I really do. Yeah, we don't talk about people on this channel, you know, that's not something that we normally do. Y'all, it's just really important to me because, one, my friend was being attacked, and two, there was a lot of stuff that was going on behind the scenes that needed to be talked about, because people can die, people can get hurt, and bad things can happen, you know? I'm not trying to like bash her or hurt her. I'm just trying to help. And also, you know, stick up for my friend at the same time. So anyway, y'all got anything y'all want to say before I go? Because now, thanks, Alicia. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my Facebook account, and I'm going to go live over there, because I told them I would be over there and go live too. So this is what I do. After I get done posting for all the people on social media, I come online, I do my videos with you guys, and all that good stuff. Where's your message at, Jessica? Where's it at, baby? I don't see, is it here or where? Where's your message at?
So one of my followers commented, "You're not truly in recovery because you still smoke weed and drink." Bitch, you don't know what I done came from, okay? So let me tell you like this. As long as I'm not in front of your nearest corner store nodding out from heroin and trying to sell this cat so I can get a couple 20 rocks, I consider myself in recovery. As long as I'm not...
Oh, see, now that's one thing I will not do, okay?
Coming out your nearest Walmart with 5...
I will never tell somebody that they're not in recovery, okay? I will never say to somebody, you're not sober, you're not this. I don't do that. I will not do that, okay? I won't do that. So this person, I just saw her video. She is recovering from, you know, she's recovering from heroin addiction, and I totally support that. And, you know, I think that's amazing. But I wouldn't promote drinking alcohol, you know, and smoking and drinking and all that. I believe recovery is a change within. So it has a lot to do with a change within. But I think it's really important for me to be like super duper, like straight up with you guys. Like, drinking is not good for you. You don't need to be drinking. If you're in recovery, you don't need to be drinking, okay? It's a slippery slope, and I don't want nothing bad to happen to you guys, okay? Okay, I'll go read your message. Yeah, Suboxone helps with cravings for opiates. Suboxone is buprenorphine and naloxone, and it is actually used to treat opiate use disorder. It is a medication that has an opioid in it. So if you get on it, I want you to know this up front, you will need to taper in order to get off of it, okay? You will form a dependency to it. So I tell you that because a lot of people say that when they got on Suboxone that they weren't told that, or the doctor wasn't honest with them. And so I just don't want anybody to make a decision that they're not, that they don't, that's not a good one. So I'm on Suboxone. It saved my life. I have absolutely zero cravings for opiates at all. And so it really helped me a lot because I could not get sober and stay sober. So, okay, I love you guys. I'm going to go over to Facebook. If you follow me on Facebook, come on over. If you don't follow me on Facebook, you can go to the About Me section and click my little Facebook thingy and come over there, okay? All right, love you guys.